Hey, what's up? Welcome back. Today we're talking about a really fucked up thing that happened in my lifetime. So in 2020, I posted this TikTok video and it stopped getting traction pretty much just as fast as it got traction. The other day, it started getting like tens of likes. But anyway, it reminded me that I never told the full story. So here we are today. I got swatted at 10 years old. Let's talk about that. The year was 2012, and I only really know this because I know that I was in 5th grade because I remember going to school the next time. I'm jumping ahead, but I know that it was 2012, and I know that it was December 13th, and we'll come back to why I remember that because I would not normally remember a date. So to kind of set the scene, it was my brother, me, and my babysitter in the house. My dad had gone to dinner with his friends and his girlfriend. I don't know where they were, but they were like an hour away. Babysitter had literally just put me down to bed, and my brother was in the basement playing his Xbox. So I was put to bed. I'm not really sure how much time had gone by, but I was kind of like I was just about to fall asleep, but I was not asleep yet. I was kind of asleep, but I was awake. I really don't know how to like describe. So yeah, all of a sudden, I hear yelling, like so much yell. I was like, wow, this is an obnoxious dream. And I had a lot of nightmares as a kid, so I really didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to wake myself up and like put myself back to sleep because like I would have to like reset my dream so I didn't have a freaking nightmare. I start hearing more yelling and I'm like, okay, wait, this is like real life. So I open my eyes and I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I look out my window because my bedroom faced the front of the house. So I look out this front window and I literally, no joke, see 30 SWAT members in a circle surrounding somebody in my front yard. So I run out to the living room to my babysitter because I'm freaking out, obviously. She doesn't know what's going on either, but she does tell me that the person that's surrounded in my front yard is my brother. My 16-year-old brother. Obviously freaking panic after learning that it's my brother in the front yard because I just looked out and saw him surrounded with a bunch of people with rifles pointed at him. So my freaking head, I'm like, okay, well, my brother's dying today, obviously. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I'm sorry, you're kidding me. I was like, I'm 10. I never seen anything like that in my entire life except on the television. She calms me down a little bit and she tells me to go to my room to wait. And I'm like, happily, okay? Because I'm terrified right now. I'm like, we're all getting shot up by the fucking SWAT team. So I run to my room and I look out the window. I'm like this. So I just remember looking out the window and all of a sudden I see these SWAT members freaking turn and point their freaking rifles on my freaking babysitter. And I'm like, okay, this cannot be happening right now. Like it was solidified in my mind, like we're all dying today. I just remember after this, I start shaking. Like I was shaking so bad. I was shivering. Like I was cold, but I wasn't cold. You know what I mean? So I grab I wrap this blanket around me and I keep watching like this. So at this point, I'm listening. The windows in my house were not very thick. Like they were old as hell. So you could pretty much hear through them if it was quiet, like everywhere else. And it was. We lived in a freaking cul-de-sac. So they ask her, is there anybody else in the house? And she turns and she points to me. And everybody obviously turns and looks at me. I'm freaking out. Okay, I was 10 years old, mind you. I need you to remember that. I was 10 years old. I remember hearing my heartbeat and I was like, I felt like I couldn't walk. Like my legs were super weak. I was having like a panic attack or something. I don't know. My body was so weak. So I hear them yelling up and they're telling me to come down through the garage. Terrified. I'm terrified. Still wrapped up in my blanket. I walk down and I walk out into the garage. And when I opened the door, I was greeted by maybe like 10 officers. I just remember feeling that they were very panicked. I could just tell like there was a sense of urgency to get me out of the house and I was freaking out. I really didn't know what was going on. At this point in my head, these officers were the enemy. They were the problem and they needed to leave because why are you pointing rifles at us? I was so scared of guns back then. I mean, I still am to this day, but especially back then when I was a kid, I was like, anything that could kill me, I'm staying away from. Oh yeah, I walked down into the garage. I didn't have any shoes in the garage. All of our shoes were like upstairs or something. I don't remember. I just know that there were no shoes for me in the garage. One of the officers literally picks me up in my blanket and carries me down the street to his car. And as this police officer is carrying me to this car, this is like when it starts clicking that something is really wrong. There was a bunch of news and SWAT trucks just lining the freaking street, and I was like, what the hell is going on? All of our neighbors were outside, like literally all of our neighbors were outside, and that was so, I was like, Cassie, 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 when they saw me with the police officer, and I was like, oh my god, like I didn't know if this was real life. I didn't know if it was a dream. Like I didn't know if I had died, and like I don't know what I was thinking. So he puts me in the back of his car, and I just remember thinking to myself, I need to go to sleep, like I have school. And when he did put me in his car, I was still visibly shaking, so I think he thought that I was just freezing. So he was like, oh, I'll put the heat on for you, and he did. He put the heat on, and then he put the radio on. He put 104.1, and if you have no idea what that is, it was the pop, like mainstream radio channel in my area. I don't know if it's for other areas. So obviously he went to go help the rest of the crew, like do police duties or whatever, and I just cuddled up in the back of the police car with my blanket, still shivering. I was terrified. I was just like, I have to go to sleep. Like maybe if I go to sleep, I'll wake up in my bed and like realize that this wasn't real, you know what I mean? Like maybe this is a fucking dream. Yeah, I just laid there and I listened to the radio, and this is how I know it was December 13th, is because it's Taylor Swift's birthday, and the radio channel 104.1 kept playing Taylor Swift songs, and they kept like talking in between. They were like, oh, it's Taylor Swift's birthday, blah 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 blah. So after a while of unsuccessfully trying to sleep, I sat up and I looked out the window, and I see my brother sitting in the back of a police car, cuffed, getting questioned by a few of the officers. And my brothers were always getting in trouble when they were younger, so I didn't think much of it. I was just kind of like, okay, seems about right. Sorry if anything looks weird or different. I had to freaking change it up a little bit. Yeah, so I'm not sure how much time had passed, but eventually my babysitter came with one of the officers and got me, and we went back inside the house. And I was so happy to be back inside the house, because how would you feel to be in a random man's car? I remember her telling me that she thought that they were there for her. So she was freaking out at first. So the first thing I did when we got back into the house was actually run into my room, because I just wanted to look at it, and it was completely destroyed. My room used to be such a safe space for me, and I remember walking into that room and seeing it that way. It was like it was immediately gone. My bed was flipped upside down. My drawers were pulled out of the dresser. It was a whole damn thing, okay? And I understand that they had to do their job or whatever, but damn, was I fucking traumatized from that. As a child, I had no idea how to process my emotions, so I literally just pushed that down. I went into the living room and I just started acting super silly for my babysitter, who was visibly stressed. So I was like trying to cheer her up, I guess. I don't fucking know. My dad did finally arrived. I just remember him pushing through all of the cops, and he like just wanted to see me. He just wanted to make sure that I was okay, and he was absolutely tweaking. I remember him grabbing me and hugging me so freaking tight, and he was like, he was crying. Sorry, Dad, I didn't mean to expose you like that, but yeah, he was crying. At the time I was kind of like, Dad, I'm fine, like relax. Like now that I'm an adult and I realize, like, can you imagine just getting a million freaking phone calls from your neighbor being like, there's a million SWAT teams at your freaking house, a million SWAT teams, a million SWAT members at your freaking house with news? Can you imagine? He was definitely thinking the worst. He didn't know what was going on. He's done checking in on me. The cops wanted to talk to him, obviously. So his girlfriend watched me and kind of tried to distract me. So we put on Footloose, which was my favorite freaking movie at the time. And then my dad came back in and told her that they needed him to go to the station with my brother. Were we surprised? Did you see that one coming? In my 10-year-old brain, I'm like, okay, he probably stole something. You know what I mean? Like, he was getting in trouble all the time. Both of my brothers got in trouble all the freaking time. This was like nothing new. They were always at the police station. Dad went to the station and we stayed and watched Footloose, and when it was time to go to bed, I asked if I could sleep in the bed, and she was like, of course. So I got in bed and I pretended to sleep until my dad got home. I really wanted to stay awake until my dad got home, but it was also kind of like I was terrified to go to sleep. I remember thinking in my head, I was just like, how am I ever going to sleep in my bedroom again? I was so scared that the cops were going to show up again, and that was just going to happen again. It was so traumatizing to me. Literally slept on the floor of my dad's bedroom for like 6 months or something like that, until he was finally like, bitch, you gotta get the fuck out of my room. So shout out to my dad, because I don't know what I would have done if I had to sleep in my room. Anyway, I'm pretending to be asleep. I'm not asleep. I'm just facing the other way and pretending that I'm sleeping. My dad finally comes home and he gets in bed and they start talking, obviously. Obviously is asking like what the hell happened, because we have no idea what's going on at this point. Someone on Xbox Live told him to call 911, pretend that he was me, like my father, and say that he had just ended his entire family and he was about to end himself for Xbox points. Yeah. And if you are wondering, no, he did not get the Xbox points ever, which it's like, okay, all right, you traumatize your sister and you don't get the Xbox points. I'm just messing around. I love my brother, but really, you couldn't get the fucking points? I don't remember anything else from that night. I definitely just fell asleep after finding out what was going on and my dad being home. I was like, okay, good, he's home, I can go to sleep. But I do remember waking up the next day and my dad really wanted to take off work so that he could stay home with me, but he had something really big to take care of and nobody else to watch me. So I told him that I was okay to go to school. I did end up going into school. I literally just acted like it was a normal day. I think maybe if I told anybody, I was just like, the police were at my house last night. Also really like loved school at that age, so I was like happy to go in. I was like, okay, perfect, something to get my mind off of it. And I also did not want to be home, terrified that the police were gonna come back and like wreck my room again. I don't know, but I was also really weird about being left home alone, or just being home alone in general, until I was like 16. It's terrible, but this was another direct thing that happened because of this situation that made me traumatized. So I had a nanny that would come before school and put me on the bus, because the elementary schoolers went in later than the high schoolers, so my brothers couldn't watch me or like put me on the bus or anything. One time my dad had to leave a little earlier than expected to go to work, and my nanny wasn't there yet, and she was like on her way to my house, and she only lived like 15 minutes away. But I literally called her and I told her somebody was breaking in the fucking house so that she would get there to my house faster. She told me that she called the police and that the police were going to be coming. She knew I was lying, so she wanted to teach me a lesson. Honestly though, thank God, because I never like joked around like that ever again. I never lied like that ever again. Back then, the Xbox Live was like the most internet thing that they had, like communication wise. Like everybody was talking on Xbox Live and everything. You could talk to a million different strangers on that thing. So I low-key feel like I was one of the first cases to get swatted. Like, just like, no, I'm definitely not fucking bragging about it, but I'm just saying I might be one of the first. So if you've been swatted before, you better bow down to me, because I was 10 years old getting swatted. I'm literally kidding, and swatting is really freaking bad. Please do not swat anybody. If you're thinking about swatting anybody, think twice. Yeah, so this is just one of the many traumatizing stories that have happened in my life. If you would like some more traumatizing stories, please let me know. I got swatted and then I farted.